If you are feeling tight and you need a full body routine, look no further because here is a quick and easy stretching routine that you can do in a very short amount of time. The one thing I do want you to promise to me is if you don't have the time right now, save it for later, come back to it and perform the whole routine at once and let me know how you feel after in the comments. But other than that, let's get started.
We will start off with a hip flexor to hamstring stretch. And we're going to start off with one knee on the ground, one leg out in front. Keep your hips pointing forward, and then we're going to shift our hips forward, getting a good stretch on this hip flexor. We're going to raise our arms overhead and lean back slightly. Now I feel a really good stretch down this hip flexor, and then we're going to sink our hips back and get a nice stretch on this hamstring. New style of videos of these past couple weeks. I'm going to run through the whole stretch with you, the whole routine, no speeding up here, so let's get right to it. We're going to do 5 reps on each side, and with all of these, I want you to just try to breathe. Don't try to clench or don't kind of bear down at all when you're doing these stretches. Everything should feel effortless. Just breathe nice and regular like you always would. And then let's hold each position maybe for a second or two before we transition into the next one. All right, so here we go. So again, hip flexor first, arms come overhead. Nice good stretch, and then sink back. Good hamstring stretch here. You can keep the knee straight like this, or you can keep it slightly bent. It's up to you. Sometimes people will feel it more in the hamstring, more in the middle of that hamstring muscle when the knee's bent slightly. So again, find what works best for you, and then we'll transition again right into rep number 2. And sink back, nice and controlled. I try not to go too fast in these routines. Good, 3rd rep here. Arch back. Rep 4. That feels really good on that hamstring. And last one for this side. And good. Switch it up. For me, my right leg's out in front. Again, shifting forward and sinking back. Rep number 2. It's funny, you feel tighter on one side and you don't realize it until you actually do the stretch. This side feels way tighter. And 3. Good, arms overhead. Good, 4. And 5. Good. Hip flexor to hamstring stretch. And now we're going to go into a tall kneeling side bend for our second exercise. Tall kneeling, all that means is both knees are on the ground. Squeeze the glutes here. One arm's going to go overhead, and then all you're going to do is slide that other hand down your leg and then side bend. I like to keep my hand close to my leg. That way we don't kind of tip over. We're actually bending over, so we get a nice stretch up into the lat, this whole back basically, and then right into that QL too. Make sure you're squeezing the glutes. That's going to keep your lower body nice and steady. We're going to do 5 reps here. Again, nice and controlled. So one hand overhead. The wider the stance, might be a little bit better. You might be a little bit more stable. Find what works best for you. Squeeze the glutes, and then reach over, and I already feel a really good stretch. In my right side, bring it back. And just 5 reps here, only 5. And then 3. Good, 4. Nice. And 5. Good, 5 reps. Let's switch it up. And then as you're running through these stretches, you'll probably feel your body starting to get a little bit looser. So that's the time for you to maybe breathe a little bit more and really concentrate on getting that little bit of that extra stretch in there. So let's switch it up. Other hand to the side, other hand up, and then arch or side bend. Good, 1. Good, 2. 3. Good. 4. And 5. 5 reps each side, tall kneeling side bend. We're gonna get into all fours and we're gonna work on a T-spine rotation. A lot of this upper body stuff to start, at least up in the shoulders. And there's a reason for that, because our strengthener is gonna be good for the shoulders. So let's get into this one. Third exercise, knees under hips, hands under shoulders, one hand behind the head. And then from here, you're going to keep your lower body as steady as possible. And then from here, we're going to push this hand into the ground, look up, rotating, working on that T-spine rotation, a little bit of extension too. And then you'll return and then run through that again. I'm gonna run through 10 reps on this side. If putting your hand behind your head is a little too difficult, hand across the shoulder works well. So do that alternative. Putting in 10 reps on each side, and we'll run through it right now. So look where you're going. Good. 2, 3, 4. Good. 5. Good. 6. Good. 7. Good. 8. 9. And 10. Switch it up. Hand behind the head. Good. 1. I'm a little bit tighter on this side. Won't be able to go as far too, but I'll try to get there by the end of it. Good. 3. Good. 4. Good. 5. Good. 6. 7. Good. 8. 9. And last one. All right. 10 reps. T-spine rotation on all fours. Last one. Fourth exercise, we're gonna get into a frog stretch. Can kind of chill out here. We did a lot of moving in the first 3 exercises, but now kind of chill out here. Knees wide, feet pointing out. Wider the stance, the more stretch you'll get onto your groin. Not wearing the right attire today. But from here, we can place our hands on the ground like this, more like a push-up position, and sink our hips back, or we can bring our forearms down and then sink our hips back that way. Find what works best for you. And we're gonna hold this for 1 minute. So let me grab a little timer here. 1 minute, let's start that up right now. Hopefully you guys are already in that position at home. Just gonna sink down here. Again, 1 minute, just breathe through it. If you can, as you're doing this stretch and you feel a little bit looser, you can sink those hips back a little bit further. Go ahead. And then from here, just breathing. Another thing you can do is just sink those hips back, but then also bring the knees out a little bit if you want to. This one's awesome. It's about halfway through already. Try to sink back a little bit more. Yeah, 3, 2, 1. All right. 1 minute hold on that frog pose. So that's it. That's it for the mobility exercise and stretches. But we always finish up with a strengthener stability exercise. I love this one. It's called swimmers, and we're gonna do it on our belly. I'm gonna show you an easier version just because this can be a little bit difficult. And then if that one's too easy, let's jump right into the swimmer. Sorry, throat's getting a little dry right now. First, you're gonna need, I'm using a couple towels. If you're at home, you can use a pillow just to put my forehead onto. lay on the belly. So this, I want you to try this version first. If this is kind of a medium difficulty for you, I want you to start here, and then you can give the second part a try, the swimmer. But if this one's too easy, let's go right into the swimmer. So forehead on the ground. First one is shoulder lift off. So I want you guys to try this first before we go into the swimmers. And then from here, all you're gonna do is lift your arms up as high as you can. And then drop it back down. You'll hold that for 1 second before coming back down. And if that's too easy, then go on to the next portion. But if that's hard, I want you to stick to that one, and you're gonna do 10 reps, okay? Now, let's get into prone swimmers, the swimmers exercise. We're gonna start with our forehead on the ground again, hands behind the head, elbows on the ground. Now we're gonna raise our elbows up off the ground, squeezing our shoulder blades, straighten the arms out, straighten the elbows, bring them up as high as you can, and then from here you're going to bring your hands behind you, slowly turning your palms up, bend at the elbow, bringing the hands to the back of the back, and then elbows drop to the ground. And then we're going to reverse the motion, elbows up, straighten the elbows, extending the arms, bring the arms back, rotating the palms down. Then from here, bend the elbows so the hands go back to the back of the head, and then elbows are still high, and then drop them down to the ground. Whew. That one is so good for mobility, but also the strength in your back. We're only going to do 3 of these because they're pretty difficult, but again, I want you to control the motion. And again, if you can't do this one, do the other one for 10 reps. But let's get it started. Right, rep 1. Good. Last one, rep 3. All right, swimmers, just 3 reps there. But man, my shoulders feel a burn, but they feel so good. And that is it